Good morning, good morning. Well, a bit of a change today. I'll give you a little bit of perspective drawing here. And when we do perspective drawing, obviously we'll do some landscape. Okay, we got a little structure here, which is a beautiful house, a shed maybe, it's not even a house. So before we do anything, I'm starting with the roof. The roof goes up, so the tendency to go up a bit. So it's not level, the shed, but that is straight down. So there is a tendency of the roof going up. That means that we are sitting down, and you'll see we're sitting low. That's just what that suggests. So you get that straight line, which is parallel to this one, and then that line goes down, which suggests that the roof this side goes down as well. So that is the platform here. Then you have another straight down line, and you have two trees here. Two trees here at the front. One, you have another one there. Two trees, and then you have underneath this shed, it's a basement, bit of shadow, basement here, steps for the owners to go and climb up the shed. Of course, we got the door, and one side of the shed, and then this one, and then you have a little bit of what's that? Well, bit of bush around the shed, and see the ground is not leveled. You can notice that by seeing it. This way is a line, that's the platform. The platform also is not exactly straight. There's an angle to it like this. So it moves from, again, it's an angle which is parallel to this one. So a bit of perspective drawing now. If those two angles were to meet, or to meet somewhere, they will meet off the page, the vanishing point. Okay, well, we'll do a little lesson on the vanishing point as well. I'll give you a little bit of vanishing point as well today. Okay, that'll be a good lesson to have a little bit of information about vanishing points. There you have it. And the end of the shed, as I said, a bit of a bush here. It's a beautiful tree here. We don't actually know what it is, but it's beautifully, they've done it really nicely. The way that they just few lines and it gives you the tree really. Trunk, the other one. The fence, I guess, and then you have a massive tree here. How to do it so you can see it? Well, I have to go my hand at the front. Don't know the names of the tree because they're not actually very clear what's going on. You'll see. But that shows you it doesn't have to be a birch tree, or it looks like a birch tree, I think, but it doesn't actually have to be any tree that you would actually recognize. hopefully that gives us enough information to go out there and draw your shed. That's a good good place to start. Draw your shed in the garden. Go and draw your garden trees. Why not? Straight line, and that line which goes this way moves down. That also moves down this way. And then you have a little bit of, then you have some hinges, or probably a little bit of a pens being hanged on over the door. Now I've left the charcoal because it's way too small, and I'm going to use the Conte. I'm using the Conte here. But you don't have to do that. You can work it with charcoal, but it was way too small. And also that gives me a little bit more of a very sharp edges, the Conte. And the steps. I guess it's a little bit of a break from portrait and human image, human figure. And those dots, as I said, that's the only tree that is most recognizable there, and I think it's like that birch tree. But again, don't take my word for it. You probably know what it is. I'm very bad in recognizing. I'm recognizing trees, really. There's a difference with the charcoal. The shadow is not that transparent. It's thicker. It's a lot thicker. It's a combination of charcoal and what's that? Conte. Okay, bit of different lines here, just to suggest a different sort of tree. Bit more emphasis here. Increase the darks down here. Now that fence looks a little bit wider, to be honest. And I give a few lines there. I don't know if it's a fence, but I'm treating it as a fence. It looks most like a fence. You'll see it yourself. A little bit of again, a place which people can sit and stretch there, you know, so they can watch from the balcony. And you have the putty rubber. You see, I'll use this. This is basically mono zero. I think Penny asked about it. This is the rubber, Penny, that goes like this. You move it, you see, and then this is very, very strong rubber. I don't use it on when you do portraits. You use it in very specific places. Like for instance, look. See, I would get rid of that line that I've done earlier to get the tree into prominence, and that's what you do, like this. There we are. And one tree, so one behind. Then you have this. As I said, that specificity of this, as we said, let's call it birch tree. This is very, very dark. That bush is the darkest. So the darkest dark, squinting my eyes, is the start. That's the first one. This. First one. Then you have very dark edge here, which is like trunk, which keeps the roof, apparently. Then you have few darks, which I think is a tent on the top for shade, for the shading from the sun, protecting from the sun. We have there are some rays of light, which I like to do that way. That again, it suggests the sun coming, the rays of the sun coming this way, and that shadow here again keeps going, and you have a few lines of the there. Now with the putty rubber, I'll come and recreate this line here, which is important to have. One, the steps. Two, then with pencil, contemporary, give them a little bit more of a very, very sharp edge. I do see some edges here with it, suggest again that distance. Sorry. That distance between the steps, so that emptiness in between. I mean, I've done this root of the tree a lot more towards the right, but it's actually closer here. Doesn't matter, just move it. It's not a portrait. You can move the branches and the roots of the tree wherever it suits your landscape. See, I'm keeping the pencil very completely flat. That suggests also a transparency. I can see a few vegetation coming from here. Look, you can play around with that, and you can add a lot more. There's some people who are excellent in drawing, some artists, in drawing landscapes, cityscapes. So you don't know that. You don't know it because you probably a lot of you haven't tried. Like myself, very difficult to go out and sit and draw. We'll need to do that when we go back to normality. We'll do that excursion. Excursion. I guess I got it right. We'll go out and draw and paint. We've done that years ago. It's beautiful. But let's wait until things get back to normal. And a bit more details here and there. And darks here. So that might open a new chapter for some of you. Discover that you really love doing this. And sitting in the garden and watching your garden or your neighbor's garden and just drawing whatever there is there. Garden sheds, tools, the way that they arrange the trees or the bushes in their garden. So again, you might discover that you love that sort of thing. And the good thing is that you don't have to go and sit outside. You can do it from indoors, which is perfect. See, emphasizing this a lot more now, and also a little bit this big one here, and here, so a little bit more again. Let's grow some garden vegetation here. And get this depth of these steps. There you have it. Bit more dry, the top branches. I wouldn't leave that to be too dark because I don't want that to be, it's on the background, these trees. Front, we have it here. So I would prefer to darken this than to darken. See? Want it a little bit transparent, let's say here. So you can do this. Lifts there, and also get those darks a bit darker here, a bit more emphasized. Okay. Artificially growing these darks. It's not as dark there, but I like it. It gives more of an edge to the drawing. And the door, let's bring the door back. don't forget, when you do a straight line behind those trees, you always have to leave the tree at the front and then the platform at the back. That's it. That line needs to be a little bit more of a straight line, so it follows this logic. Okay. That's it, really. And those darks here. Straighter lines down here. Oh, well, I see that this tree creates a shadow onto that trunk. You'll see it. So this branch, you see, creates a nice, beautiful shadow here. It's a little bit of transparent shadow. It's not that dark. Okay, and then instead of doing a line here, you can bring it with a putty or with this rubber. And then that dark is not that, it's a bit more transparent as well. Give those darks here. And also straight line, which is the edge of the shed. Okay. Sorry, King. And some transparency down here. There we are. Maybe lose that line, it's a bit too strong. Bring back those pillars, which they keep the shed or the roof maybe a little bit brighter this side of the shed. It's like reflected light coming from the landscape back to the shed. That's it. More of a straight line. Straight down. Well, I think there we are. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.